Hi everybody, Catfish Jones here. Looks like we're gonna do a little bit of car talk. Thank you so much for bearing with me while I took a bit of a respite. And thank you so much for joining me on this car talk. I'm gonna do my best to drive safely. What is it I like to say? Aviate, navigate, communicate. Which really just means drive first and figure out where you're going second, and then do the talking bit. No, I really enjoyed my break. It was something I wasn't even sure I was ready to be done with the break. But I do feel like it was the right thing to jump back into the thing here right at the first of the year. Because 2020 is upon us. We are living in the future, people. Oh, goodness. All right. There was a lot of things that I thought would make great car talks over that break. Because a lot of things were happening. The biggest of which I think was all of the YouTube shenanigans. It has become a very different landscape than when I left. With the COPA stuff and the algorithm change, I tell you what, was it December 13th or 14th or whenever they did that big change to the algorithm, my front page was obliterated. All of a sudden it was just rife with million-click videos and the biggest stars' YouTube channels. That kind of bugs me a little bit. There's been other things, but specifically with the YouTube shenanigans, the COPA side, I do understand. Nobody wants to breach child labor laws or aim their content at kids just for the ducats. I know some people do content that is accessible to kids, like it's not rated R or something that kids shouldn't watch. And some of those channels I saw take specific steps to show that they were adult by swearing more or running warnings. All of this stuff because people do try to make their living on YouTube and other digital means by being themselves in a personality type thing. And when the rules change, when the goalposts are moved, it makes people scramble, and then they start fighting for survival because they don't know what's really going to happen. They know they don't want to get all their videos demonetized. They don't want to get their back catalog demonetized. They don't want to lose out on next month's paycheck because they got bills. Don't we all? So, a very interesting wrinkle in all of this. But I wasn't following very closely anybody I really know on the YouTube to see how everybody else was discussing it. I'm sure Camo Dave covered it a good bit, and that his nomads were probably freaking out a bit. Maybe when I'm bored sometime this year, I'll go back and check some of that content. Lots of weird stuff going on. There were some Catfish covers videos that I wasn't sure what to do with because a couple of them were flagged for copyright, and to me that's not something I'm a big fan of. What that means is that they will run ads and collect all the ad money, which doesn't really matter. But I really prefer my videos to run without ads no matter what. I personally hate ads. It's a big personal thing. And so I decided to unlist those videos, which I think means that you can still view them on a playlist or a direct link, but that you won't see them when looking through the Catfish videos. So if you do want to see some of those videos, the playlists are an option, but I think BitChute is an option as well, because I use BitChute as kind of an archival option to archive these videos off-site, away from YouTube, in another database. And it's very, I don't know, I think this time, when everything's changing and nobody knows what's up and what the intentions of the major corporations are, to me, it seems like it's a very important time to embrace alternative outlets. You know, there's not just BitChute, there's Daily Video, or Daily Motion, I guess it's called. Brighteon is one, and there's a whole bunch of, I heard of Library, or whatever, Library, LBRY, or LIBRY. There's a lot of things out there that you could use, and some of them aren't up to snuff with where the YouTube is at. Some of them have features that are better, but in general are not as good. Different this or that, running on blockchain, or all kinds of weird stuff. So I've been using BitChute for over a year, and basically when you set it up, you just upload to YouTube, and it grabs it and copies it over to BitChute as well. So I post a video, usually it goes to BitChute within 24 hours, and then gets views in their area there. Ooh, there was a whole bunch of geese flying low over a lake. That was very timely for me to be able to catch. I like those little moments. There's some other stuff, weird stuff, alt tech, that I think is important. I really have not decided on what I want to do about a Patreon. I know a lot of people use Patreon, and it does help support artists who are doing this type of work. I struggle with some of their intentions, but I also am not 100% sold on the alternatives. Subscribestar is one alternative, and I know there's a couple others. So where I'm left with in returning to the battle zone, seeing YouTube in a very different world. Sad every time I try to go down a musical rabbit hole that it just wants to feed me Katy Perry. No! How is that even relative? Just because it has 1 million clicks doesn't mean it's good. But I digress. As you can see, as we wrap up this little bit of car talk, I could probably ramble for quite a while on some of these topics. Some of these topics I haven't even touched on in this car talk. So I foresee that the car talk content, I guess, will continue into 2020. Because I do have a lot to say. I don't want to spend my vlogs talking a lot. But who knows? Maybe car talk will be supplemented by more of the Mark Fun Jones style home movies. Of course, I say Mark Fun Jones style, but he hasn't been quite putting out the content he was, and it sounds like he is going to take a break. I encourage everybody to when you're feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to take a step back. Don't beat yourself up over it. Really, just claim a break. Refresh yourself. It's a cycle that I refer to as live, reflect, create. That if you're a creative person, it is important to also spend time living in the world, and then reflecting on all of that to see what you think about it. And I don't know, all that kind of stuff. To me, that's the cycle that I try to adhere to, and it's not always that easy to reflect and live if you are constantly creating. So, who knows? I have landed. I am shutting off the carmobile and gonna wrap up a little bit of car talk. Thank you so much for riding along with me. Do please follow me on minds.com/catfishjones. Also the BitChute. Of course, the Catfish-Jones exists as a website and all other kinds of things. I hope you guys are well. I look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers.